All right, here we go, 747 Palma to Frankfurt. I can't wait. Here we go. Wow. Hello and welcome to another video, and good afternoon from a very sunny and warm Palma de Mallorca here in Spain. And today I've got a real treat. We're flying the Queen of the Skies. There aren't many things that would make me want to get up at 4 a.m. for a flight from Gatwick, but that is just what I did when I heard there was a rare opportunity to fly Lufthansa's iconic 747-400. If there's one thing Brits and Germans agree on, it's taste in sunny holiday destinations. Easter is a busy time in Mallorca, and historically, each Sunday in April, Lufthansa's been replacing the normal A321 operated flight from Frankfurt for a 747. Previously, it sent its beautiful, newer 747-8, which has the added attraction of a first-class cabin, but as you know, I was really lucky to tick this off the proper way last year down to South Africa, and what a trip that was, one of the flights of my life. I've always liked Lufthansa, and one of the best things about them is they often put large, wide-body aircraft on short routes to cover holiday demand, and this year is no different. Lufthansa is the only 747-400 passenger operator outside of Russia, so today I'm flying a truly classic jet and a very rare experience. Right, so Palma, it's the last Sunday of the Easter holidays and it is absolutely rammed. I've had a smooth transfer from my British Airways flight, but I am definitely looking for some respite from the crowds. Now, I'm always a bit skeptical when I find the lounges downstairs from the main concourse, and my suspicions proved right. This is not exactly the finest lounge you'll find in Europe, but it is what it is. There are no views, no comfortable seating, and it's curiously lit up like an operating theatre. This is quite a weird place. It's also kind of scruffy, and it really needs new decor. But I can't really complain. There's a buffet, there's a fridge of beer, and it's better than sinking money into an airport bar or wrestling with the crowds on the concourse. Palma is an interesting place in the holiday season. Over 60 airlines serve the island. It's a very popular place, and you'll also be able to see other wide-body aircraft, like this fabulous veteran Swiss A340-300 running to Zurich, and this Air Europa 787 Dreamliner off to Madrid. So as we wait for today's beautiful 747-400 to arrive, a couple of important little trivia points about today's flight. Firstly, it's my first time in Palma de Mallorca since 1989. My first ever flight, I flew on a Britannia Airways 767-200 from Luton to Palma in Mallorca with my mother, who was coming over here to see her sister. And I've never been back since, and I bet the airport didn't look like this when I was last here. Anyway, today I'm flying the last of the Lufthansa fleet that I've got to tick off. I've flown every single type of aircraft that Lufthansa has in its fleet, except for the 747-400, and so I'm delighted to be able to take this on a very short, less than 2-hour hop up to Frankfurt. I can hardly imagine life before flight radar. It's amazing to see our aircraft appear on the radar and then loom into view out of the haze. And she's down. 24-year-old Victor X-Ray is still in passenger service long after most airlines retired these old things. The 747 is a classic design. The 400 is distinguished from the new next generation Dash 8 by its angled winglets and slightly shorter hump behind the cockpit. And it's not just me who's pleased to see this beauty at the gate. This flight is a curious mix of families heading home from a week in the sun and lots of aviation enthusiasts just like me. And is there anything to turn heads more at an airport than a 747 pulling up to the gate? Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, an award-winning virtual private network. Most of you are probably worried about getting your bank details hacked or your personal details spread around the dark web, but for me, the most terrifying thing is being hacked on YouTube. This has actually happened. Last year, there was a spate of channels that got their channels hijacked by scammers.
If you haven't noticed already, a lot of high-profile YouTubers have been getting hacked over the past couple months. You've probably seen your fair share of those Tesla live streams promoting Elon Musk and some fake crypto BS, which is what those channels become once they're hacked.
The biggest victim so far has over 10 million subscribers. You see, if my account gets hacked, not only will the hackers be able to access my YouTube channel and post whatever they like, they also get all of my income. So this is where Surfshark comes in, which is a great first line of defense against scammers. It stops hackers, scammers, and even legitimate companies from tracking me online and secure my identity, encrypting all my sensitive data that I send and receive over the internet. Surfshark's pretty smart. It also sends me notifications if and when it detects I'm on an unsecure network, prompting me to make sure it's turned back on. So what are you waiting for? Stay safe online, unblock locked content, leverage some lower prices online, and stay safe from scammers and hackers. Of course, there's a special deal for you. Head to surfshark.deals/wingin for 83% off and 3 extra months for free of Surfshark VPN. All right, here we go, 747 Palma to Frankfurt. I can't wait. A quick reminder, it's free to subscribe to me on YouTube. Go down, hit that button and click the bell to be notified of every new video I post and join a community of over 250,000 other trip report enthusiasts just like you. Unlike the Dash 8, there is no first class on the 747-400. The nose is a tightly configured business class, and that front row might be iconic, but it's not exactly private. Thank you. Here we go. Wow. I'm upstairs in the hump for today's flight. There are 22 seats up here, and I've laid my proverbial beach towel over 86K in the last row. Seats are in a 2-2 configuration all the way to the front. This aircraft holds 371 passengers, and today we have a completely full load, but if you're upstairs, it's almost like being on a small, exclusive jet. Where would you sit, the nose or upstairs in the hump? Let me know in the comments. These seats were installed in the 2010s and aren't the originals from the 1990s, but they're still pretty vintage. Lufthansa actually has these seats on most of its long-haul fleet, and they're not exactly competitive in 2023, but we are not too bothered about that today. Today is about appreciating this awesome vintage aircraft and its retro feel. And what a treat it is to be on board. This aircraft is from 1999. It's over 23 years old, and I'm finally getting to fly it.
To welcome you on our Lufthansa Starline flight to Frankfurt. The flight time today will be approximately 2 hours.
we climb out of the airport, taking off to the east, and get a great view of the city of Palma and of Magaluf. We're only fueled for the short flight today, and we're quite light. This will enable us to get all the way to 40,000 feet. There is Wi-Fi on board. This was priced at €12 for 2 hours and €20 to have full flight capability. The flight is 2 hours in the air, but is actually scheduled for a full sector time of 2 hours 20 minutes, which is why the more expensive option is shown, so buyer beware. The Wi-Fi only works in the cruise anyway, so 2 hours will be ample today. Now here's a question I see asked a lot. Why do many aircraft windows have little holes in them, like this? Well, they're there to make sure the whole cabin pressure is exerted only on the strong outer glass pane for safety. The more you know, hey? The windows on the top deck do slant a bit, but you can still get some great views. This is Menorca and Mahon Airport. Down there, thousands of holidays are beginning and ending, and it's probably just as chaotic as Palma was. So, what's the seat like? Now, I've always found these seats a little bit curious. There's no direct aisle access, and the seats are seriously showing their age, but they're still very comfortable. The lack of storage is partly compensated for on the top deck by these shallow bins, although they stop at the last row, and instead there's a void which you can keep your stuff in. And despite their age, these seats still work fine, and the table is nice and sturdy. The weirdest thing though is that the recline function is bizarre. It actually raises the seat, which is such a weird feeling. One of the most dated things on this aircraft is the awful remote control. The mouse function is so hard to use and not very accessible to people with certain disabilities. Anyway, it's very rare to get in-flight entertainment at all on a flight wholly within Europe these days. I think these 747 crews really enjoy their occasional outings on short haul. This crew was great and the service was quick and friendly. Lufthansa's short-haul catering is a bit odd though, and I rarely have a clue what I'm eating. Someone told me they always seem like well-presented cold leftovers from all the long-haul meals, and I think that's about right. After the meal, fruit and chocolate was served, and the free chocolate is the one thing I really love about Lufthansa Group airlines. A big shout out to the pilot who told us that we were passing the Matterhorn, one of the Alps' highest peaks and a dramatic sight above the clouds. This was the last of the scenery before we descended into a very grey Germany. It's been over 3 years since I last flew a 747-400 and I'd completely forgotten how small the lavatories are here on the top deck. Yep, it's really small. And check out the super vintage illuminated push button. I haven't seen one of these on an aircraft in ages. And so we're down. I paid £373 for this trip return, booking Palma to Frankfurt in business and the reverse in economy. But I probably won't take that economy flight. I purchased it because buying the return was cheaper than the one-way business class ticket, which often comes at a premium in Europe. My top tip is if you do book a dead leg you intend to throw away, do it far, far into the future. If the airline changes the time of that flight, you might even be allowed to cancel that leg and claim a refund. As always, thanks so much to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Head to surfshark.deals/wingin for 83% off and 3 extra months for free of Surfshark VPN. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.